All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to West Brom Fan TV. As you can see, big special guest, the godfather of football channels, Robbie. Welcome to the channel. How are you?
Big Rob, not Big Sam.
I think we
Yeah,
probably prefer Rob to Big Sam, to be honest with you.
no, I'm good. I'm good, bro. I've had this the dreaded COVID. So
Positive.
sorry.
Was it a positive test?
Yeah. I've had it. I've right over
Oh,
the whole Christmas period, man. You know what I mean? I first sort of realised I had it just before Christmas Eve. Yeah.
bloody hell.
So yeah, so I tested positive on Boxing Day.
You
So
getting better.
yeah, I'm feeling. You know what? I'm feeling a lot better now.
Ready
It
for the
was.
game on Saturday?
I beg your pardon.
Ready for the game on Saturday?
I'm ready for the game on Saturday, man. You know what I mean? I was feeling rough over Christmas, but a couple of decent results by Arsenal, and now I think I'm through the worst of it now, and I'm really looking forward to the game on Saturday. And Saturday's the first game as well, even though I can't go to the game.
Yeah.
My self isolation period finishes on
So
Saturday
you
as well, so I can actually go outside. You know what I mean?
yeah, good. So obviously West Brom versus Arsenal on Saturday. What would you say from an Arsenal point of view? What would you say your biggest threat is going forward, and what would you say your weaknesses are?
Oh well, biggest threats going forward is obviously, I think Lacazette at the moment is on a rich vein of form. He scored 3 in the last 3 games, and really this season we've been very poor going forward, which is surprising when you think of the players we've got. But we've been very poor. We've hardly scored. I mean, I think the other day against Brighton was the first goal we scored from open play away from home for ages. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
yeah, it's Lacazette's on a bit of form. I think Aubameyang, who was out, he's sort of getting back to looking like the Aubameyang of old, even though he's still not really scoring. But he did score just before he was out with his injury. And then I think, it's quite significant that Martinelli's back. He's looking very hungry, even though he hasn't scored yet. He's looking very hungry as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if we do change things around for the game. But going forward, they're the threats. And then Saka, who's been
yeah,
brilliant for us this season, he's always a threat as well. Maybe not a scoring threat, but he's the creative spark in that team. So, yeah, I think any of those four, really.
I've heard a lot of Arsenal fans saying that they would drop Aubameyang for this game and put Lacazette in. Do you agree with that, or do you kind of think that you need Aubameyang there with the amount of goals he does score? Obviously, he's a really, really key player for you guys. He's probably one of the best players you've got on his day, and probably one of the most prolific goal scorers in the Premier League when he's on form. So,
He's
where are you done with that?
he's our best player, but he's not on form at the moment. He's not, excuse me, he's not been on form this season. Last season and the season before and the season before that, he's been
Yeah,
carrying us. But he's been very off this season. He was out with an injury recently as well. He was out, missed about 3 games with a calf injury. He's back. I mean, I personally, I don't care out of those two who starts. I
yeah,
think I think maybe you start Lacazette because he's on form at the moment.
yeah,
So when I feel that when a player's on form and he's the guy that's getting the goals, play him.
yeah,
So I wouldn't be against playing Lacazette at all. And I don't know, somehow for this game, I get the feeling that it could be maybe Lacazette starting with Aubameyang on the left-hand side, Saka on the right, and maybe they might rest Martinelli because he's just come back from a very long-term injury and he's played the last 2 games in quick succession. So I'm just wondering if maybe they might say, we don't want to overdo it with Martinelli. Although I'd love to see him start because he brings an energy and enthusiasm to the team that we've been missing for most
yeah.
of the season, and it's been very significant that since he's come back into the frame, we look a different team.
Yeah, and obviously I've saw a lot of your younger players, Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, and a couple of other players who have done brilliantly well. What do you think? What sort of impact do you think they could have on the game coming in?
Yeah,
Obviously, young players, the hungry. A game against West Brom, who were potentially relegated. How do you think they'll fancy their chances against the poor West Brom side to get on the score sheet?
I think they'll be very hungry, those players. I think that's been the difference between them and some of the senior players. I've not
Yeah,
shown enough hunger this season, right? You know, you've had guys like Willian and even a bit
mm,
of Aubameyang in a way. He's not been at his best, and some of the other senior players just ain't really stepped up. The
yeah,
younger players have sort of come in, and you see a hunger to them. They're really eager to impress and do well. So I do hope that those guys get a start again against West Brom.
yeah,
I'm not underestimating West Brom. I think, you know, after the 5-0 defeat against Leeds, I think that would have been a massive shock to their system. I think
mm,
Big Sam's going to be working on them all week to get them organised. He's going to be really hurt by that because, you know, he's a guy that his pride would have been right up with the draw against Liverpool. He would have thought maybe we're turning a corner, and then that's like back down to reality with a bump. So we can't take West Brom, you know, lightly. We really can't. I think the difference is, though, which is really a lot different to me in normal Big Sam teams, is that normally his teams are like really physical. It's that physical aspect that he's able to bring
yeah.
to the table. Whereas I look at the West Brom team at the moment, they're not really that type of team. They're more
No,
they're a football playing team, and they've got good ballers like, you know, Dean Garner and these type of guys. So it's maybe that might suit us a bit if he tries to do the Big Sam sort of more defensive way.
yeah,
I'm not taking it lightly because Big Sam, he called out Arsenal as well when he first come in, saying about we're in a relegation battle and stuff like that. Arsenal fans don't really like Big Sam, as you know, right, because of his history at other clubs.
yeah,
And they'll be, you know, against Arsenal, and they'll be wanting to get one over him.
yeah. So coming in, obviously, from an opposition standpoint, what did you make of the Slaven Bilic sacking, and what do you make of the Sam Allardyce, like, literally replacing him within a couple of days? Do you think that was wrong? Do you think we should have stuck with Bilic, or do you think that Big Sam was the way forward for us? Because me and a lot of our fans, we didn't want Slaven Bilic to be sacked. We didn't want Sam Allardyce to come in, although he has a brilliant track record of keeping teams up.
I think the West Brom board panicked. You know,
Yeah,
I thought Bilic, you know, has been very unlucky with some of his results this season.
yeah,
I remember that game against Chelsea. They
yeah,
were 3-0 up, and you know what I mean, and they came back. And you know, sometimes I wonder about these owners. I mean, what do you want a manager to do if you come up
yeah.
from the Championship and you don't really give him any money to spend? He's not really had much money to improve. What do you really expect him to do? You know what I mean? Are you saying, right, go and work a miracle, and then if you can't work that miracle, we'll bring in Big Sam? He just got a draw at Man City, and that was, you know, we can't even do that, right? And I'm like,
Yeah,
how can you sack a manager after that? And to me, it's just a panic. And, you know, I really, you know, I'm not even a West Brom, you know, West Brom's got nothing to do with me, but I always even felt a bit angry about that because I'm just tired of all these clubs just doing these things. You know, what do they expect? You know, I mean, if you look at it, it's like even at the start of the season, I was saying to some of my fellow Arsenal fans, listen, I was like, it'd be great to get top 4. It would be fantastic. But then when I actually look at it with Arsenal, you know, after we were a few games in and we'd lost a few games and stuff like that, and when I really, one day I sat down and I looked at our team and I said, are we the 4th best team? If you look on it, like, in the league,
yeah,
do we have the 4th best squad? And I'm like, no, we don't. We've probably got like the 6th or 7th best squad, which means if we do get into the top 4, Arteta's overachieved. If you don't give, and this is one of the things that we've been complaining for over the last few years with Arsenal, is that if you don't give the manager the personnel, what do you expect? You can't expect to go and beat Liverpool at Liverpool with the team we've got, or Man City, or even Tottenham, really. Because they've got the honest truth of it, when I look at it, honest to God, they've got a better team than us. So if we're gonna compete with them, we need to get some better players in. It's the same with West Brom. If they're expecting him
to stay
to
up.
be, I don't know, mid-table or something, go and give him the tools to at
Even
least give him a chance to try and do that. And that's why I just think that whole sacking of him is terrible. It really is.
Even the fact that they said to him to stay up, I still think it was you mentioned top 10 there, but even to stay in the league would have been a massive achievement with the players. Like we said on your podcast earlier, whatever you want to call it, we actually mentioned the fact that he's basically got the same squad as he had last season. What do you want him to do?
What do you want him to do? I mean, I always look on it, as I said, if they spent a load of money, gave him fit, and then it's all going wrong, I understand it. If he's got these players that he's got at the moment and he's lost the dressing room and stuff like that, I can understand. But from what I could see at West Brom, he didn't look like he'd lost the He hadn't looked like he'd lost the dressing room. He hasn't lost the fans. The fans are looking on it and saying, well, actually, all right, there's still a bit of hope there. We've gone to Man City. Why sack him? And then it's just the same old, bring in Big Sam. Or the other day I saw at Sheffield Wednesday, they brought in, what's his name? He's the other one that they always bring into. They used to be at Stoke. I forgot his name now. Pulis and all that. It's the same old people they try and bring in. And yeah, sometimes they have saved clubs, but sometimes one day it's going to start running out. And I just felt to myself, I was just like, it was a knee-jerk reaction by West Brom. And, I don't know, man. Somebody else will go and get Bilic because he's a good manager. He brought the team up. Nobody really expected West Brom to come straight up, did they? So
one season he did it. And I've saw a lot of Arsenal fans, obviously, with a lot of debate over Mikel Arteta. Are you Mikel Arteta in? Or are you Mikel Arteta out? Obviously, I know Troops is out and I know DT is. I watch them regularly. And it seems to be a bit of a divided fan base at the minute. It seems like a lot of people want him to stay and they want him to get the resources in January. And then there's another part of it where they're thinking just bring someone else in. Where do you stand on that?
I think with me, right, is that after we lost to Burnley, I was starting to think to myself, maybe we need to make a change. Because I'm like, we're dropping like a stone. We're in 15th place. This is horrific now. We've lost so many home games. But I have to say, like, the win over Chelsea, the win over Brighton, I'm like, no, actually, it's a bit like what I was just talking about to you, right? Give the guy a chance now. I'm saying to the board of Arsenal, give him a chance, back him. Because Arsenal's got a lot of problems. We've got loads and loads of players that are at the club. They don't even play. We've got about 8-9 centre-halves at Arsenal, right? People complain and say, Arsenal ain't got no decent centre-halves. We've got about 9 at the club, right? And, half of them, Callum Chambers, Mustafi, you've got players like Kolasinac, you've got Mavropanos on loan, you've got all these players, they don't even get a game. And they need to leave, really, but they're on big wages, and a lot of them were supposed to have gone in the summer. They weren't able to move them on. You got the Ozil situation. There's a lot of problems with players just hanging around, and that can never be good. So I want to really and truly, I don't think we're going to see the best of Mikel Arteta until next year when he gets all those players out. And then in the summer, we can see what he does with his players. So I'm going to give him more time. I'm going to give him a bit of leeway, but he does have to improve the performances. Now, over the last couple of games, the performances have improved. I think he's gone for young players. The young players have come in and they've been a bit of an inspiration. We're still miles off, in my opinion, being where we want to be. But I just look at it this season and I think this is a season of, sometimes with a football team, you've got to hit rock bottom to come back up and start improving. And we've hit rock bottom. And I think we've turned the corner with the last couple of results. And I think every Arsenal fan will be looking on it and thinking, well, West Brom is another winnable game considering the position you guys are in. If we can get 3 wins on the bounce and start trying to go on a bit of a run, So I'm prepared to give him now. I don't think there'd be no point in getting rid of him now, unless you know what this is like. This is football. If the results are going horrifically wrong again, then you've got to start considering and thinking, well, do you go and get somebody in to stabilise it? But I don't want him to be knee-jerk in it. But I can
Maybe
understand. I think I could understand more in our case why people were talking about maybe making a change than your case, because we've just never ever been in this position before where we were so bad, you know. So,
do you fancy Big Sam?
no.
What one?
There,
Just quick.
there was a lot of jokes. There was a lot of jokes flying around, right? When he went to you guys saying, "Ah, look, it's too late now. We can't even get Big Sam to come in and save us." I think. Listen, I think if Big Sam came to Arsenal, mate, they'd be marching on the streets, COVID or no COVID. Fans wouldn't be having that. I'll tell you that.
So quickly before I ask you a score prediction, what has been your, obviously as fans we can't go to the football at the minute, we can't go and support our teams, but what has been your best and worst memory at the Hawthorns, what you can think of over the years? What I can imagine what your worst one's going to be, probably recently where in 2017 you lost 3-1. And
oh yeah, I remember that, and I came out and you were waiting for me. Yeah, Robbie. I was like, you know what? We've normally, it's not always been the best as a place for us to go. It's always been a hard game, man. When we've gone up there, I can't really think of like too many times when we just got up there and just really smashed you guys. I'm actually thinking that the fact that there's no fans there might help us a bit, because your fans are always really up for that game.
Yeah.
It's, you know, I think the fact, I do think that's had a big factor this season on some of the teams, for instance, that have come up, or, it's, you really do miss those fans. And I think Hawthorns, normally, I always look on that as quite an intimidating place to go to, because the fans are right behind their team. I know that I love going there, actually, because you've always got like that away end, and you guys have got like
the home end,
drummer and stuff like that, and a set of fans there that really, they're really good. They really have a pop at the away fans and stuff like that. I remember last time I was there, they were having a pop at me, right, individually, right. So that's all going to be missing now. So I think that's to our advantage. So I definitely think that's good. Hawthorn's a difficult place to go to normally for Arsenal.
Yeah. So just before you go, are you willing to give a score prediction, or are you not?
Yeah, I'll give a score. I think it's going to be, I'm going to go for 3-1. I think Arsenal at the moment they've got their confidence back. I think if West Brom would have caught us a couple of games ago, but I think the confidence is back in Arsenal. I like the way they played against Brighton during the week, which is a different type of game to that Chelsea game. Brighton were really organised. But in the second half, I was very disappointed with the first half displayed for Arsenal. But in the second half, they came out and they found a way. They played really well in that second half, really attacked Brighton and deserved to win. So I think, I really do think a bit of the confidence has come back to that team. And I can see, as I said, it's a bit strange for me, because Big Sam's teams are normally big, physical. It's not really that type of team that he has now. So I know if he's going to be able to deploy what he'd normally do against us. So that's why I just fancy us this weekend.
Yeah, Robbie, massive thanks for coming on the channel.
Thank you very much.
I would ask people to subscribe, but they're probably already subscribed to you. I will leave a link in the description of Robbie's YouTube channel in case you somehow haven't seen Arsenal Fan TV. But just give a shout of where people can find you, obviously on YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah, Aftv, we're on all platforms. So always come along. Listen, all football fans are welcome on our platform. And good luck to you. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I respect what you've done. You went down. I was still watching your videos when you was down, and I respect the fact that you didn't just say, "Oh, I'm down now. I'm not going to." You're doing it out of the love of your heart for your club. And you've been doing it. You've been doing it for a few years now, and I really respect that, man. So keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. I do hope that West Brom stay up. I really want to be able to go up there for another game. But obviously, that staying up part, I don't want to. It has nothing to do with this weekend. We need to smash you. Simple as that.
Yeah. Cheers for coming on anyway, Robbie. I appreciate that.
Good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.